Alright guys, now read the question first and foremost. Express each of the following in the terms a plus bi, where ab is an element of R. What would be an example of an answer that's allowed? Would this answer be allowed? Is that a good answer? Are they both an element of R? A is 3/5, B is -7. I think they're both an element of R. So that is an okay answer, isn't it? In fact, any number I can think of, √3 minus, I don't know, 2√7, is that allowed? Are they an element of R? They are, that's a good answer. What's the only thing that's not allowed? You're not allowed to have an I value on the bottom. So for example, if I had this, if I had an I on the bottom, that's not an element of. That's not an element of R. So we have to get rid of the I values on the bottom. And there's one way you get rid of I values on the bottom, and it's the same every time. Okay? You look at the one on the bottom. Yeah? And this is what's known as the complex conjugates. You simply change the middle. If it's a plus, you change it to a minus, and if it's a minus, you change it to a plus. So what's the complex conjugate, everybody, for this question? And you multiply 2 minus 3i top and bottom. And you know what happens every time? Every time it's the difference of 2 squares on the bottom. Every single time. And when that happens, the middle part cancels out, and you'll be left with no i's on the bottom. Okay, so here's what happens. We multiply at the top. 8 times 2, 16. 8 times 3i minus 24i. Minus I times 2 minus 2i. What's I times 3i? 3i squared, otherwise known as minus 3. On the bottom, 2 times 2, 4. Minus 6i plus 6i. 3i by 3i. Minus 9i squared, otherwise known as plus 9 is cool with you. Okay. Now what happens on top? What happens on top, Ben?
Becomes 13 minus 26i.
Yeah. And on the bottom?
13.
And then divide it in.
1 minus 2i.
And you're done. Alright, you guys? Are they both an element of R? Yeah. Would you guys all be okay with taking care of question 3 now? What would be the complex conjugate of part 4? What would you do there? Minus 3 minus 2i, and on the other one? Yeah, that's all you need to do. Huh? Just make the middle part. If it's positive, make it negative. If it's negative, make it. What about the first one, Oscar? What about part 1? What'd you do?
4 plus I.
And 4 plus I. Alright? They're really handy. Okay, let's move on. Alright, this one here. Simplify each of the following. I think these are relatively handy as well. Go on, I'll do part 5. I don't think you're going to have an issue. Okay? Multiply it out. Minus 2i squared, otherwise known as plus 2, isn't it? And then on the bottom we have 2 plus 4i. Okay, what do we get here? What? Now, if you check the back of the book, it doesn't specify what the answer should look like, does it? Does it specify what the answer should look like? I reckon in the back of the book it doesn't have the I on the bottom, does it, Heyman?
No.
So how do I get rid of that I on the bottom? 2 minus 4i top and bottom, isn't it? It should specify in the form a plus bi. It should specify that. Right, then we get 10 minus 20i minus 2i, 4i squared, otherwise known as minus 4. And then, anybody know a shortcut for the bottom? What's the shortcut for the bottom? The middle's always going to cancel, isn't it? So 2 by 2, 4i by minus 4i, minus 16i, otherwise known as. Then what do we have here? 6i, or sorry, 6 minus 22i over 20. I wouldn't be happy with that. If it specifies in the form a plus bi, what should I actually do? Anybody know? Everybody sees the way I split the denominator? Would I get full marks for that? What else? And? Trick question there, wasn't it? Full marks now? Yeah. Alright. So we've done questions 3 and 5 and we're finding it easy so far. Question 11. Alright. Connor, what would you do here? Square out the brackets first. Happy days. IY is same as YI. Okay, now what? Multiply it out. What you get?
X squared plus 2xy.
Yeah, he did it all in one go. There's going to be 2 of them, which is pretty good. 2xyi, yeah.
Xiy squared.
Sorry, iy by iy is y squared, I squared, and what's y squared, I squared?
Minus y, sorry. Minus y squared.
Alright, you have to do what's called real versus real, imaginary versus imaginary. So we're going to do real versus real first, right? That's real. How do I know that's real? How do I know that's real? Oh, why? There's one equation, the blue equation. And what's the other equation? Ever see the 2 equations? So Killian, what you do now? Yep. Pick a letter to get on its own, your choice, dealer's choice. Alright, and what do I do with the 2y?
Bring it over minus 6.
So 6 divided by 2 is 3, so minus 3 over y. Okay, great. Oh, this is tricky. Yeah, you won't get this in ordinary level. What now?
So then minus 3 over y for x squared.
This one's a snake. It's a good question. What next? Snaky.
9 over y squared minus y squared equals 8.
Okay.
Then y squared 12 over.
What?
8y squared plus y squared. So 9 equals 9y squared.
Alright, common denominator, lads. This is where I expect a good few of you to cough up this, because you haven't done one of these in a while. You haven't done one of these since the start of 5th year, and there's a way of dealing with it. Okay? So, Killian said common denominator. Killian ain't wrong. But what about here? What's y squared by y squared? Y to the power of 4. Oh God. If you put y squared on an extra y squared on the bottom, you have to put an extra y squared on top.
Yeah.
So everybody happy with y to the power of 4? You're not, because you haven't got a clue what to do next. But that's what actually happened, right? So what's now? Did a common denominator cancel? And what you get? I'm going to bring the y4 and the 9 over here, and what do we get? Who knows their stuff? Jamie, what substitute are you going to make?
X. X for
Well, X is already in use, so pick another letter.
U for y squared.
Jamie's going to change U for y squared. And would everyone agree that's y squared, 2b squared? So what's Jamie going to put in instead? U squared plus 8u minus 9. U plus 9 and u take a 1 equals 0. And what do we have then? U equals minus 9, u equals 1. We're after u, we're after. Can y squared be equal to minus 9? It could, but it has to be an element of R. So that would be a complex answer, so we're not interested. So we're only interested in y squared equals 1. And if y squared equals 1, what's the answer? Plus or minus 1. And then we go back up and figure out what x is. What's x? Minus 3 over y. So, if y equals minus 1, x equals 3. If y equals 1, x equals minus 3. So it's basically like this. What's the answer again? Is that also was asked for? Does it say values in the question? Values. Yeah, done. Alright, I did 3, 5 and 11. So you will also do 3, 5, 6, 8, 10, 12. How far does it go up? 13. Yeah. Enjoy.